What are the three biggest mistakes in your life which you remember and you repent? Why we are recently discrediting the acceptance of donation by NGOs from foreign countries?
The civil servant has to perform their duties on the basis of certain principles. What are the major principles of the civil servants to perform?
Can you name a few technologies which have been transferred from DRDO or ISRO to the private players?
Can you tell me something about the Digital Protection of Data Act that we have?
If given a chance, would you like to introduce Vipassana practicing and meditation in public schools?
May I come in?
Come in.
Namaste. Namaste.
Namaste. Wait here.
Thank you.
Introduce yourself.
Sir, I am Aakash Trivedi. I hail from Erandol Taluka, Jalgaon district, Maharashtra. I am 23 years old. I have done my graduation from IIT Kanpur in computer science engineering. In my last attempt, I got into reserve list, and this is my second attempt.
Aakash, as human beings, we unknowingly, unintentionally commit mistakes. You could have also committed some mistakes in your life. What are the three biggest mistakes in your life which you remember and you repent?
So though I don't see the things as a mistake, but as an opportunity to learn. But a few of the mistakes that I can recall is, firstly, sir, in my last mains, maybe I should have practiced more of my answer writing so that I could have improved a little bit more marks.
One.
Secondly, sir, in my college days, I wanted to be the part of football team, but I felt I had not practiced enough in my free time so that I could be able to part of it. So,
Two.
Third, sir, I'm not able to recall it.
Any third mistake you don't remember?
So, like, I don't see these things as a mistakes. No, sir, I'm not able to recall.
Okay. So opportunities missed are called opportunities lost. Do you see some opportunities you have missed which are kind of loss for you?
So opportunities, lot of opportunities, like in life you have to take one decision, and if you take the other decision, then there is always an opportunity cost to it, associated to it. So in my case, like, I opted for civil services, so maybe I missed out on going to private sector or going for a placement. Then maybe I miss out on more participation in cultural activities or sports as in general. But sir, I believe it was a decision that I have taken with a conscious decision by analyzing all the opportunities and what I want in long term.
In your DAF, you have mentioned that you were part of Vipassana Samiti. You are a executive member of, yes, while studying in your IIT Kanpur campus. So, what was your engagement? What kind of association you had with the Samiti?
So Vipassana Samiti is a part of Student Gymkhana. So I was part of organizing the blanket donation. So in Kanpur in winter there is cold wave, so a lot of people die. So we sort of do the crowdfunding and then go on in the surrounding areas of Kalyanpur to donate the blankets. Especially,
okay, if you have to explain to a layman from a village, let's say Kanpur Dehat, okay, how crowdfunding is different from begging, how do you explain it? Is it a more glamorous name for begging?
Sir, in crowdfunding, sir, it is we have a proper portal or mechanisms through which one can ask, and it is mostly voluntary and nobody is forcing you, and it is not personalized or individual. It is like you have an opportunity. If you want to participate, then you can participate. Whereas in begging, it is considered as a personalized one, and sort of there is an obligation or sort of you're doing something for other person. But in crowdfunding,
okay, the way there is a mass mode of production, there is a mass mode of begging, which is called crowdfunding.
Sir, I would not call it begging because it has negative.
Why? Okay, it is having negative connotation, begging. But Vivekananda himself begged from large number of people. He went to San Francisco also for this purpose only, for collection of donation.
Yes.
Gautam Buddha used to proudly beg. Bhiksham Dehi.
So for them, they see the begging as like they are taking from society food and other material, but at the same time they are giving back in form of their knowledge, their wisdom and their service. So that way they did not see begging as a one-way thing, but they saw it as a two-way thing. So similarly, sir, crowdfunding also, there is two-way thing. So you are donating, say, your money, but at the same time you are also getting the satisfaction of being part of a thing that may even save individual life.
So if you compare that ancient norm of Bhiksham Dehi promoted by Gautam Buddha and modern crowdfunding, as far as element is concerned, both are similar. The
So to certain philosophy
purpose is similar. The underlying philosophy is similar.
Yes, sir. You can say to a certain extent.
NGOs also indulge in certain activities.
Yes.
Why we are recently discrediting the acceptance of donation by NGOs from foreign countries, while crowdfunding is nobody is criticizing.
There has been the perception that the funding from foreign NGOs can hamper the developmental projects, whereas they are involved in the protest activities. And also there has been instances like in Nepal, we saw that there was some reports that the foreign funding was involved in the protest organization. So it has national security implication also. So what we want is that NGO should have a proper FCRA license, and they should, from a proper bank account, there should be transparency in the way they are getting funding.
Can crowdfunding also may be utilized for such protests, international activities?
So crowdfunding can definitely be one of the mechanisms, but so oftentimes crowdfunding is not sufficient because one need to raise awareness about it, and the donations are not continuous in a manner. So one cannot plan for a long term. So that could be one of the alternatives, but we need to have proper institutional fundings also.
Aakash, my final question. I was looking at your zonal preference. In the 4th zone, you have given top preference to Sikkim, first preference, and last preference to Nagaland. Can you explain why? Why first preference to Sikkim and why last preference to Nagaland? Both the answers separately.
So firstly, I had to feel some preference as a last preference. So I am willing to serve in any part of the country as I am allotted to. So I had to choose between them. So sir, I felt that Sikkim is probably more serene, and I felt that that was a state that I would like to work if I have an opportunity. And so Nagaland, as I had chosen another option before that. So that was the last option, so that's why I went with it.
So can I deduce that you are looking for more cozy environment to work as administrator?
No sir, as I have mentioned that I am willing to work in Nagaland also quite happily.
But that's the last preference. If any other option, all the options exhausted, then?
So, but then we had to choose some state, so that's why I chose it. But
okay, fine.
Nothing.
Aakash, what I am seeing that Aakash generally written as AKASH, but additional A is over here. So is there any basic reason behind that?
There are two reasons primarily. The first is that there is A, so A has double A in it. So if you translate in this, and secondly, sir, my father wanted that maybe alphabetically I will come earlier, so that's why that is double A is there.
Okay. So you want to be a civil servant, and the civil servant has to perform their duties on the basis of certain principles. What are the major principles of the civil servants to perform?
So the first principle would be to abide by the rule of law. That is crucial. Then secondly, sir, objectivity in decision making, that decision should be based on facts. Then thirdly, sir, having compassion towards vulnerable section to balance out objectivity. Then sir, other principles could be having say integrity in their conduct in all the duty that they are performing. And so then lastly, we could have say service attitude or behave as a karma yogi because they are working for the welfare of society.
This could be the principle for the leadership also.
Yes, sir.
So how it is different?
But I think the service part and the compassion part is, I think, what makes civil servant different, because they have to work for the welfare of last man standing in the row. So I think that is the fundamental principle, and having integrity because they are dealing with the public funds. So that two things become crucial for them.
What do you think about neutrality and anonymity? Isn't it as a most basic principle of the civil servant that makes it different from others?
Thank you, sir. I missed that point, sir. Yes, sir. They are also crucial aspect because civil servant works as a say fourth pillar of Ashok Stamba. They perform their duty, whereas they by staying anonymous and part of a state in general.
You mentioned your father that he is a lawyer. So he's a lawyer, advocate, or barrister?
Sir, he's a lawyer. He's a civil lawyer. He works in a civil domain. But sir, he practices also in court. So I need to read about the distinction between those three you mentioned.
Okay. So these days you must be seeing that controversy over the national song is going on.
Yes.
So what is the reason behind this controversy? and why a special debate has been organized in the parliament for 10 hours on that?
So I haven't read those arguments in detail. So I need to read about specific debate or what is the contentious issue.
Okay, my last question, that you must be knowing about the decentralization
Yes.
of the power,
Yes.
in which special focus to be given on the local self-government, and it's the era of good governance also. So is local self-government brings good governance, or good governance brings local self-government with more decentralized power?
So I believe both go hand in hand. Like if you have local self-government, then it automatically ensures that there is accountability of the people, it is more responsiveness in nature. And in good governance, the fundamental principle is of subsidiarity, that the function that can be done at a lower level should be done at a lower level. So like making the decision making or allocation of the funds, that can be done at local level. So both complements each other in a positive manner.
Akash, I see in your DAF that you participated in some ISRO START program. What was this program?
So it was a program for the final year students to attract them towards the space sector and also to introduce them towards the ISRO's development and in general space science.
Okay, fine. So in recent years, we are observing a trend wherein public institutions like ISRO and DRDO are licensing or transferring a lot of technologies to the private players. So why such a move is being made by the public institutions?
So we have a new space policy, especially in the ISRO case, where the goal is that ISRO should focus on the cutting edge and higher end R&D, and whereas the commercial part of it should be allowed towards private sector, so that the revenue generation also happen and India move ahead in the space ladder.
Okay. A similar trajectory can be observed with regards to the defense industries also. So the DRDO is planning to again focus on cutting edge research, and the manufacturing capabilities are being transferred to private players. So what benefits do you think this defense industrial engagement is going to bring to India?
So the first benefit would be that a private sector will bring the innovation and investment. So it will ensure that our defense sector improve. It can even export we are also exporting a lot because of that.
Okay.
Secondly, sir, startup allows for the involvement of new technologies such as AI and cutting edge technologies, because they are willing to take risk and high bets. So that would be another benefit.
Okay. Can you name a few technologies which have been transferred from DRDO or ISRO to the private players?
So like for ISRO, I can tell that the PSLV launch vehicle, the technology and also the infrastructure for the space base.
Which company is involved in this process? Which private company is making these components?
So in my understanding, Agnikul is a firm that has...
right?
Yes, sir.
Skyroot is another startup working in professional systems, right? A former president of the United States, Eisenhower, had warned of this military industrial complex. So what is this military industrial complex, and why was he so skeptical about this entire idea?
So military industrial complex means that the industries and the military work together to achieve the common objectives and both complement each other. So the skepticism was that in this the industries will want to promote conflicts across globe, because in that way the industries will get more profit. So it would hamper the peace prospects across the globe and will promote conflicts in general. And also the industries will influence politicians to make those decisions that would promote more conflict.
So do you think India as a country is moving in that direction only because the kind of integration that we are trying to promote with regards to our defense establishments and industry players, both public players as well as private players, do you think we are moving in that direction of creating this military industrial complex in India also?
So I believe rather than thinking of it as a military industrial complex, we should think of it as civil military fusion. That our goal is to firstly to have a deterrence towards it, and also to evolve in cutting edge technologies, and also to provide exports to the friendly countries that we have.
Okay, my last question to you. Recently, India has increased its engagement with Pakistan, especially in terms of trade and commerce. Afghanistan, right?
Yes.
So Afghanistan is a landlocked country. How are we planning to initiate trade with Afghanistan? Pakistan is obviously not providing a route.
Yes. So we have a Chabhar port, and then we have Jaranj Belaram highway, through which we are able to connect, bypass the Pakistan and directly connect towards Afghanistan.
A recent move was also initiated wherein we are going to use air cargo as a means. Can you tell me about the exact places in Afghanistan from where these air cargos will be used?
So I need to read about it.
Okay, thank you.
Hi Akash. So, are you aware of the recent issue that was ongoing with the Sanchar Sarthi app?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so the government first said that there'll be a mandatory pre-installation, and then it made some clarifications that you can delete it if you want to.
Yes, ma'am.
Why do you think that kind of a clarification or that move from the government was required? Like, what could have been the negative repercussions of this application?
There were 2-3 concerns of it. Firstly, there was fear of surveillance that could have been done because app asked for a lot of permissions about your message and images and all. And secondly, ma'am, there was concern that it could hamper the right to privacy, which was under Article 21, and it was done by a notification rather than a legal act. And also, thirdly, the consultation was not done with the industry players.
Okay, but don't you think most of the applications require these permissions? Like, a lot of these applications require them. Why only Sanchar Sarthi, and why the controversy?
I think the concern was that because the government made it mandatory and you cannot delete it and pre-install. So all this lead to the concern around that app.
Okay. Can you tell me something about the Digital Protection of Data Act that we have?
So it was a progressive move to strengthen the right to privacy in India. We will now have firstly the Data Protection Board to handle the concerns in it. Then the big companies would have to have the data as a compliance officer to handle the grievances of it. Then for children, the consent would be taken by their parents. And fourthly, the consent would be taken for all the data, and you can also delete it if you want.
Okay, so do you think there's something that we can borrow from the GDPR also of Europe?
There were few gaps, like the right to forgotten was not mentioned in the act. This is what I can think of.
Okay. Can you also tell me something about the National Supercomputing Mission?
So, ma'am, National Supercomputing Mission is there to promote the supercomputer capabilities, which are which perform parallel computing. So, various IITs like Param series has been promoted, so that in various IIT we have supercomputers. Sorry.
And what role is IIT Kanpur specifically playing in this? Are you aware?
Ma'am, I believe in IIT Kanpur, Param Shivai is a supercomputer that is present, and it is also part of the mission in general.
So you're sure Param Shivai or some other Param?
Sorry, ma'am, then I need to read about the exact.
No problem. And how do you feel about the startup ecosystem in India? Is it good?
Ma'am, we are the third largest startup ecosystem in India. It is good because we are seeing that rise of unicorns and across domain. But the challenge remains is that deep tech startups are less in India.
So are we mostly funded from foreign capital or domestic funds?
So in the starting journey of our startup phase, we were funded by the foreign companies, USA, and in starting China, but then it was reduced significantly. But we are also seeing a rise in the VC industries of India also now.
But still not that significant yet. So what are the challenges you can think of, particularly when it comes to domestic funding of startups?
And the reasons could be firstly the risk-taking culture. Like US VC industries have a huge long history, and they are being able to take those risky bets because of the large chunk of investment they have. And secondly, ma'am, our VC industry seems fragmented compared to the US industries. Yes, ma'am, this is what I can think.
Okay. And are you aware of quantum computing?
Yes, ma'am.
And quantum communication?
Yes, ma'am.
So can you spot the difference?
So quantum computing involves using the quantum principles such as entanglement and for the calculations, whereas quantum communication uses those technologies to perform the communication between two devices.
Okay, so recently I believe DRDO and one IIT did achieve a leap in this direction in quantum communication. They built something. Are you aware of that?
Ma'am, quantum key distribution of a mechanism was developed for quantum communication, which would be challenging for anybody to encrypt.
What is quantum key distribution, if you have to explain?
Ma'am, it leverages the quantum principle of, say, if the two devices are linked quantumly, then they will stay in the phase regardless of distance, and if somebody tries to interfere, then the phases will differ and we will be able to detect.
There's a key actually that's given for decrypting the message, so as to ensure the encryption. Okay.
I will read about it.
No problem. And you mentioned in your draft that you practice Surya Namaskar.
Yes.
Right. So will you call it a complete exercise, Surya Namaskar?
Yes, ma'am. I would call it a complete exercise. In fact, I would add the mental dimension and the breathing aspect also. So it makes it a holistic exercise.
And it helps in the regulation of which hormone?
Like cortisol hormone is associated with it, but I believe in general it ensures hormonal balance across body.
Okay. Thank you.
Hi, Akash.
Hi.
So last year, for example, you met with 54 people, and this year 63. What is the percentage increase?
And
Okay, that's not a problem.
ma'am, around 15-16%.
Okay. Tell me, Vipassana, what helps, like Vipassana helps you to see things as they are. How does it help with aiding cognitive biases in governance? Do you think it will help? How does it help in governance?
Ma'am, definitely it would help because firstly it ensures equanimity and there is a calmness before you make a decision. So normally if you have a prejudice, then you impulsively think about in that manner. But if you have equanimity, then you can pause and you can maybe reflect on your biases and maybe overcome that.
All right. If given a chance, would you like to introduce Vipassana practicing and meditation in public schools? If given a chance.
Yes, ma'am, I would like to introduce it. But before that, I would promote awareness about it, that it is not a religious practice, but a meditation practice to address this speculation. And also, I will keep it open for everybody if they want to leave out of the practice.
All right. How would you promote that awareness? That it is secular in nature, it's not primarily religious, because it's very likely people are going to associate it with religion. How would you do that? What are the steps you're going to take?
Firstly, I will lead by example, and if say workshop is conducted, then maybe I would be part of it. And secondly, ma'am, the religious aspect of it, say like you say Buddham Sharanam Gacchami. Maybe we can remove it if we are say teaching students about it, so that there is more acceptance of that practice. And thirdly, ma'am, just bringing more people who are well aware. We are practiced Vipassana for a long time. Maybe bringing them and using them as an influencer can be one of the way.
All right. Other than removing cognitive biases, what teachings from Vipassana are going to help you be a good leader, be a good civil servant?
So the first thing would be that Vipassana has Mitta Bhavana, which promotes compassion, and compassion is crucial for the civil servant to have. And then secondly, ma'am, as I mentioned, equanimity, it is crucial because it changes the way you react to the situation, and you become more calm, composed in a stressful environment or the situation that is not going in your way. And thirdly, ma'am, Vipassana has Adhishtan as a part of it, that if you have taken an oath, say you want to execute a project, then despite the challenges, you would finish it, you would not stop till you have finished it.
All right. Tell me, who is the systematic founder of Yoga School of Indian Philosophy?
Patanjali is associated with founding
All right.
yoga.
What are the 8 limbs of yoga? 8 limbs of Ashtanga Yoga?
Ma'am, like a few I can remember: Yama, Niyama, then Pranayam, Pratyahar, Samadhi.
There's also Asana.
Asana, yes, ma'am.
Right. All right. Are you aware of Karen Uhlenbeck? Have you heard the name?
No, ma'am.
No?
No, ma'am.
Nothing about Abel Prize in mathematics.
Abel Prize I have heard. Like
What is it about?
It is like mathematics does not have Nobel Prize. So Abel Prize is considered as an equivalent to a Nobel Prize and provided by a Norwegian society.
All right. Tell me something about Swami Vivekananda's philosophy.
Ma'am, the Swami Vivekananda philosophy is multifaceted. So the first thing is that divinity in all. So it is a centralist philosophy. Then second is service to Jiva is service to Shiva. So he says that the one's duty is to serve people. And thirdly, he believes in the idea of learning from the West, the scientific nature, and also exporting our spirituality to them, so that one can have a balanced life.
And what is it exactly called? The philosophy of what term is associated with the Swami Vivekananda's philosophy?
Neo-Vedanta, ma'am.
Also practical Vedanta?
Yes, ma'am, practical.
All right. Okay, that's all. Thank you.
Akash, who were called the Ashtadigars in Indian history, particularly medieval history?
So they were associated with Vijayanagar Empire, Krishnadevaraya's court. The famous one was Tenali Raman was one of them.
And who were Ashtapradhans?
The Ashtapradhans were associated with Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj.
Can you recall the names of all the Ashtapradhans or designations?
The few I can recall are Peshwa, then there were many like Senapati, then we have for finance, then external affairs, but exact terminologies I'm not able to recall.
There is also an officer called Pant.
Yes, sir.
Do you know that?
I've heard of it, but exact his role I'm not able to recall.
Do you understand the functions?
About no sir, I'm not able to.
Okay. Are you aware of the money they used, the Maratha administration, name of the money.
No, sir, I need to read about
In
it.
certain treaties, the amount of revenue mentioned in that unit of money. Not aware?
No, sir.
Which language was official language of Maratha administration?
So, like Sanskrit was after the coronation of Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj, but sir, official language they promoted, but official language I'm not aware, sir.
Not aware. Never mind. You come from Jalgaon,
Yes,
and it is part of an arid zone.
yes, sir.
So, can you explain the climatic conditions of entire Maharashtra and how in how many socio-climatic zones it is divided?
So we can divide it in a manner like we have Konkan plains, then we have Western Ghats, then we have a black soil Deccan Plateau, and then Vidarbha we have like lot of terrain, rugged terrain. And sir, other divisions could be that Vidarbha is known for the mineral resources because of the Gondwana plateau part of it, and also coal is present there. Whereas in Jalgaon and other regions, it has black soil, so it is rich in cotton. But due to the Western Ghat effect, it becomes part of rain shadow area.
Okay. In the history of Maratha Empire, there was many battles were fought. One of the battles is called Battle of Wai. It's a place in between Pune and Mahabaleshwar. Have you read about Battle of Wai and its significance?
So no, sir, I need to read.
Okay,
about it.
never mind. Thank you, Aakash. Your interview is over. You may go now.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. May I come in, sir?
Come in. Have your seat, Aakash.
Thank you, sir.
So you faced interview last year
Yes, sir.
and you are aware of the marks you got.
Yes,
How
sir.
many marks?
So 190,
190. Very impressive. So this year's target is?
200 plus.
Okay. Extra 10 marks would be good enough. So which job you have got this year? You are in the reserve list.
Yes, sir. Sir,
I-
IRMS, sir.
IRMS. Okay. So let's say you are left with IRMS only. You would be happy person?
No, sir. I will try to give another attempt.
Next year again, 2026. How long you'll keep trying?
No, sir. I will take EOL and then I will give again.
Okay. So what are the shortcomings in IRMS which you want to just get out of it?
Nothing shortcoming, sir. I am grateful that I have got opportunity to work in Indian Railway, which is lifeline of our country. But sir, I
Okay.
believe IAS will provide me wider opportunities, work in more domains.
Okay, fine. Which set of questions you were asked last year?
So they were DAF based 80% and 20% were current affairs.
And you were able to answer it with satisfaction?
There was some scope of improvement, but yes, most of them, yes.
And what about today's performance?
So today's factual, there was factual gap and maybe some current affairs like Sir Ask Vande Mataram. And I also made factual error in the supercomputer of IIT Kanpur. So maybe that I should.
Okay, fine. So see, I'm not bothered about the fact part. What I'm noticed more is that in the first phase, that is in the first 5-7 minutes, you were displaying good amount of energy in your facial expressions, body language, your communication, verbal communication. But gradually it faded, which you need to avoid. It's hardly 20-25 minutes, 30 minutes affair. You have just to maintain that energy with
Yes, sir.
jovial expressions on your face. Are you planning to go with the beard?
No, sir. I forgot. Sorry, sir.
Fine. That's the central part of our observation, that if you maintain your cool and calm composure with pleasant facial expressions, factual things can be done. That means your interview is on 9th, this is 6th already. They don't mind. The only thing is that if you are not aware of the fact, you should be honest
Yes.
to accept it. And it's quite humane to forget facts. You know that?
Yes.
We are not computers.
Yes.
So we do forget. Even computers forget facts. So there should be apologetic about the fact that you have forgot facts. Vipassana meditation you have been associated with the certain other sports, football, etc. So we expected that at least that part you will be coming up with more correct information. Of course, expectations are there. Assuming that you have practiced this football and Vipassana,
Yes.
Maybe if you can improve upon facts, it will be better.
Yes, sir.
Sometimes opinion may also vary. How Surya Namaskar affects body mechanism, which biochemical reactions take place. There are different schools of thought.
Yes.
So I'll not go for a specific prescription as to which answer you should give, but maybe have a relook.
Yes, sir.
Which glands get activated or which hormones get activated.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Or you can make a structure of sentence in a way which makes it safer. That some people believe that this hormone, but opinions differ. Okay. In some polity questions also, there are some factual errors you committed, suggested by our member.
Okay.
So in 2-3 occasions, factual errors were committed. Of course, on computer, supercomputer is iterated, expected. But my central concern is that you have to maintain your pleasant personality. Otherwise, you are already selected officer, you are well qualified person. Your awareness about Maharashtra, I was expecting a little better, whether it is history or geography.
Yes.
Geography was coming, you are coming with this, but history was missing completely. Shivaji is superhero of Maharashtra culture.
Yes.
You should always be ready with his
Yes.
the factual things around him.
Yes, I will read about.
And also because some new films have just been
yes.
released and some TV series. So maybe a member can ask this question.
Yes, sir, I will read.
Okay, so that's it from our side. If you have any other question, you can ask.
No, sir. So in general, sir, like what extra I should do, say for 200? You mentioned those things apart from it. So like hand gesture, was it right?
There was some movement, but I think that because you yourself was reading that your confidence level is a little bit fading, and that created sense of anxiety. That was a reflection of your self-consciousness about fading kind of. So be comfortable. I'm suggesting that you have scored well. You already got a good job. Even if you don't join a railway as IITian, you will be always able to get good jobs.
Yes.
So you are not facing that kind of condition which general youth of India is facing.
Yes.
Unemployment. That's not your problem. So there is no need for anxiety in your case. And a person who has been practicing Vipassana should be having anxiety, means Vipassana has failed.
Yes.
Isn't it? So avoid that. So that's my central point, that be at home, keep up your mood, your facial expressions,
Yes, sir.
and other things would just follow. आपका तो जन्मदिन सचिन तेंदुलकर के साथ है. Just keep batting,
Yes.
keep on the pitch, रन वन आ जाते हैं अपने आप. स्कोर अपने आप आ जाएगा 190. जब जिस परफॉर्मेंस से 190 है, उसी परफॉर्मेंस से 210-15 भी आ सकता है.
Yes.
ठीक
So
है.
is this good or this one is better? And
उसका कोई मैकेनिकल
and-
प्रिस्क्रिप्शन नहीं है. वैसे भी रह सकते हैं क्योंकि वो थोड़ा सा ज़्यादा स्टैचू टाइप का हो जाता है
That's why. Yes.
ऐसा. लेकिन स्टेबल रखिएगा, मतलब मूवमेंट अवॉइड करने की कोशिश कीजिएगा. ड्रेस अच्छा लग रहा है, सिटिंग पोस्चर थोड़ा और स्ट्रेटन अप बॉडी रखिएगा तो और अच्छा रहेगा. थोड़ा सा आगे झुका हुआ सा दिख रहा था,
Yes.
बियर्ड वगैरह ठीक कर लीजिएगा. अदरवाइज बहुत अच्छा है.
Thank you, sir.
बस ये है कि फैक्चुअल एरर अगर लग रहा है कि होने जा रहा है तो अवॉइड करिए. मान लीजिए कि नहीं पता है, जैसे
Yes.
आपने मराठा के बारे में कॉइन आपको नहीं पता है, स्क्रिप्ट नहीं पता है, लैंग्वेज नहीं पता है, तो ठीक है आपने मान लिया. कम से कम ऑनेस्टी तो दिखाई.
Yes, sir.
डिसऑनेस्टी नहीं दिखानी.
Yes.
लेकिन जितना 2-3 दिन में फैक्ट तैयार कर सकते हैं कर लीजिए.
Yes.
ओके. एनी अदर डाउट?
No, sir.
ओके, ऑल द बेस्ट.
Thank you, sir.
For more informative content, like, share and subscribe, and do not forget to press the bell icon to get the notifications.